Word of the hour for word of the day and word of the week. Manipulation. Be very careful of your manipulators. See, brothers and sisters, we find ourselves being manipulated every single day. And on Sundays, the biggest day of manipulation. You get manipulated out of believing something. And by you believing it's something, you coming out of your pocket with millions and millions of dollars every seventh day around the country. People tell you anything and you buy it because that's how we are as a people. We buy into everybody's manipulation. Will and Jada Smith, black people, good black couple, so-called once upon a time. And then all of a sudden you get one who wants to manipulate everything by coming out and selling a book and then telling America or the world, oh, me and Will haven't been together in, 6 to 7 years. We ain't been together in 6 to 7 years. But yet, in those 6 to 7 years, Will goes up and slap another black man for no reason. No reason. But y'all ain't even together. But you manipulate the people by making them think, because see, when you see them out at galas and whatnot, that's just to manipulate you, to make you think that they're still together, even though there's so many rumors. But they ain't even been together. They don't even live in the same fucking house. Manipulate. Black people are always being manipulated. I'm sure other people get manipulated, but I don't give a shit about what other people get. I care about what we get, and we get manipulated all the time. We go to houses of worship, and we get manipulated out of dollars by, if you don't pay your tithes, it's a sin. Like it's damn near a death sentence, the way a lot of people try to make it seem like. Oh man, you sow a seed and God will bless you. Like God ain't gonna bless you unless you put some money into it. God don't have no need for money. Even his own son didn't even have need for money. But they manipulate you into believing that you're going to be, or you're not going to be blessed if you don't give your money. It's like, who am I giving my money to? And then you see half the church poor with nothing, while you see the one who's leading you fine automobiles, fine houses, some even got planes, but they'll manipulate you out of every drop of blood. If they was vampires, well, they are vampires. They just sucking your green dollar. They will manipulate you out of everything you have to keep you going nowhere. Because that way I'll always have an audience. It's like a crack dealer. I'm going to keep on giving you this crack. Tell your friends. And that way you go. You got so many people coming. You killing yourself and you making him rich. And supporting his family into a lifestyle. While your family is suffering, worried about you. Because you're being manipulated. It's the same thing. You get your paycheck. You go and you buy stuff. Name brand stuff. And then you look at it. It's like, man, this name brand stuff. If you're a quality expert, if you know anything about quality, it's like, wow, this shit ain't even worth this. You're buying a name. Start buying your own name. They manipulated you so much. These people are billionaires. Louis Vuitton, he at one point, he was worth $200 billion. Richest man in the world. I don't think he's the richest man in the world anymore. I think some other people might have popped back up on top of him. But at one time, he was the richest man in the world. The world, his net worth. We ain't talking about his company. We talking about him. His net worth, $200 billion. His family don't ever have to worry about money. Even though that $200 billion might have slipped down, his family ain't never gonna have to work again. Because they manipulate you to believing that having this product makes you more important than say somebody don't. And I told you, I done seen homeless people with Louis Vuitton. I've seen homeless people with Gucci. I've seen homeless people with all that name brand shit. We are manipulated into believing that this makes us more than what we are. And it's not. People who really have money, you don't see them walking around in that name with that name brand shit on. You just don't. They may have something on here and there, but they don't worship that shit. It ain't the fact that they can buy it. They just don't. They have other things to put their money towards, like building up generation upon generation of wealth. And some do whatever they do with it, but they don't go around. They're into buying things that's going to make money. And they can afford that name brand stuff if that's what they choose to do. But like I say, a lot of them don't even give a shit about that stuff. That's stuff that black people worship more. Like we worship people more so, our stars. And it's like, man, why do we worship these people when these people really don't give a shit about us? The manipulation of the black mind. Guy once told me, true story. We used to talk all the time. He used to come to my post when I was working security. And he would always say, man, we would always have these long talks before he go and do what he had to do. And he would always ask me, he says, man, were you ever a pimp? No, man, ain't no damn pimp. Why would you say that? He says, the way you talk. I says, no, man, I'm not a pimp, never have been. I said, we played pimps when I was in elementary school, because we had a lot of pimp movies. Willie Dynamite, Superfly, The Mac, movies of that nature. Even though Superfly, he was the pimp, but you never really seen him pimp. He more was a drug dealer more so than a pimp. Well, anyway, I says, no, man, it's just the way you talk to people. People will believe anything. I says, before I got married, and even when I was married, I used to tell people, my game is high tech. You can't fuck with my game. Not only did I believe that, I knew that. You couldn't fuck with it. See, just because a person may look corny or whatever, the manipulation, it's all about the mind, the manipulation of the mind. I used to watch television programs when I was younger of motherfuckers who were good at that. Like my number one, JR, Alexis Carrington. These were master manipulators. Because see, these were white folks. You didn't have no black folks really. Black folks weren't allowed to be on TV and try to manipulate shit like that. Black folks didn't do that, even in the movies. But white folks was making TV shows. Falcon's Crest. They was always making TV shows on how white folks manipulate to build their business. See, we don't have that in our community. We never really did. And we do it now because a lot of manipulations come from what? The house of worship. Very sad to manipulate people in the house of worship, but the house of worship ain't the house of worship back in the day. Though they did it, they do it at a much greater level now than they ever did back then. Ain't got shit to do with social media. Like we social media. No, people doing shit. They just out there now. Ain't got shit to do with social media. Motherfuckers was doing it back then. Manipulation. Getting back to me. Manipulating. My mother's friend once told her, if I had him, she was talking about me, as my son, I would be rich. And then years later, my mother had told me, I laughed about it because I understood what the lady was saying. He's good. My mother I'm not going to say my mother didn't understand, because more likely she probably did, but she just knew. I'm not that kind of guy. That's why. It is too... In this day and time today, if I was a money-hungry ass person, I'd be sitting on top of the world. But I'm not that money-hungry ass type of person that goes out and manipulate people. Because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Old school manipulation is fucking... I blow away new school manipulation, period. Because I got both. But I'm not that person. Be careful of manipulators. Manipulation is something that we can't afford. That's why we're in trouble now. Peace.